Hello, BodySlams podcast viewers, and welcome to Breakfast and Body Slams. As we're giving a very special tribute show today out to one of our fellow wrestlers. For us, like he's up there, like in a Godfather
mentor type.
He's like in a Godfather status. He's on that. He's one of the Mount Rushmores for a lot of people, maybe not for some, but for most. He did a lot of great things in the world of professional wrestling. Today's show is dedicated to Hall of Famer Mr. Razor Ramon Scott Hall.
The bad guy.
I'm one of your co-hosts, your analyst here, Chio Frost, and the man sitting next to me. We don't get to see him as much as often as we like to. Mr. T. Reyes.
What's up?
How you doing, T?
Tired as hell. You got me here on a Sunday in the morning.
Well, you're not the only one. I got a couple other good-looking dudes here in the crowd. In the green room, I think they're planning out their Chippendale tour. Not sure yet if they're going to wear the Speedos or not. I think Brian's going to have the bow tie on and shaking his groove thing, but I'm not sure what part Joey's going to play in it, but we'll find out eventually. But speaking of Joseph, we're going to bring in the room that Italian stud muffin that likes to shake his groove thing, and he has his buddy on his hip as he's strutting down the street, and all the soccer moms are really digging him. He's that Italian hero, Mr. Joey Image. What's up, brother?
Good morning, fellas. Sorry for the mess.
What up?
Sorry about the mess behind us. We're still not done with this.
No, it's a lot. It looks a lot cleaner than it was before.
Oh God, yeah.
So I appreciate it. You know, we don't have to use no fake green screen though.
No, not anymore. I'm getting a real one soon. So.
All right. And let's move along. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get another one of our co-hosts for today. He comes to you all the way from the Tornado Tag Podcast, also interview with Everyday People Network. I hope I said that right. You can like, share, subscribe. I think they have Patreon and stuff like that, but he can fill you in with all the details because he knows a hell lot more than me. He's a man who started in the podcast game way before me. To me, he's a mentor, you know, because he knows a hell lot more about this stuff than I do. I'm still fiddling around with my settings and stuff. He's the man. Some people call him Tony. I know him as Anthony Blackwell.
What's going on? I'm hung and I'm over. It's gonna be a good
You're
day.
Hung over. You better not let the women hear that too much. They might come knocking at your door. I don't think the old lady would like that too much. Yo.
Yeah, the Tornado Tag Podcast, IWEP Network. We do a bunch of cool stuff over there, but that's not about that today. It's about the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Most definitely. And we have one of your cohorts.
Save the best for last, baby. This guy's a stud.
Oh yes, most definitely. That's why I say
he's on my team.
That's why he's going to be he's going to be wearing the bow tie, shaking his groove thing, getting those dollar bill y'alls, however it seems fit. He is your Tornado Tag Podcast encyclopedia, as I want to say. He's thoroughly always ready. He knows what he's talking. He's not just a fan of, I don't even want to say sports entertainment, but professional. He's not just a fan of professional wrestling. He's like a professor, just like Mike Tenay. I think that's the best way to describe him. He is your co-host, Brian.
Chio. Chippendales are so 80s. It's all about the OnlyFans now.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Matter of fact, I did start an OnlyFans page though. All it is just my name. There's nothing else. No pictures, no nothing. I'm trying to figure out what to put on it because I figure I'd do it as a spoof.
Hey. We have a Patreon OnlyFans where if you subscribe to our Patreon, if you go back to some old photos, there's only photos of fans. So just isolating fans of different wrestling shows. Like there's one from the Sanctuary. We have that all going on. Yeah.
Oh, that's so it's an OnlyFans page.
Yep.
Exactly.
Dude, that is genius. I would
It's risque.
never
It's risque.
I would never have thought of that. We got some people chiming in on chat room here before we get started. Our man Flex Willer coming all the way from the Great White North chiming in. He's an indie legend around the area. Dave hollering at us. Dennis loves OnlyFans. That's right. And I guess he pleads the fifth as well. But
we lost somebody.
We
lost Joey.
Joey. All right. We'll get Joey back in a minute. He'll jump back in. He's probably messing with settings and stuff. That happens all the time with him. But yeah, well, it's okay. First, let's get to the shocker. Like we all heard it. Like first we heard the whole thing about him being on life support because he suffered multiple heart attacks. And for me, just like a lot of other people, we're like, okay, you know what? We can't lose another one right away. He's the bad guy. He's gonna pull through. And like I had high hopes. Of course, we all did. And then as soon as the news hit about the family pulling the plug, depending on how serious it is and stuff, as soon as we got the news that he passed, I know everybody out there was like, especially ones who grew up and the ones that he touched so much of, who he helped along the way, ones that individuals who he inspired to get into this business. It's just an emotional roller coaster, and he's one of the guys who like changed the business as time went on.
Yeah, he's a pioneer. He allowed us to make more money, basically freelance on a whole different level. He pioneered that game with Kevin Nash, and I was in shock because I found out exactly when Raw came on, because I heard they pulled the life support, but he was still breathing on his own. So I had a little bit of hope left in me. And then when Raw came on and the graphics came on, I'm like, no. They said he's still breathing on his own. And then I basically went on Twitter and started scrolling through, and family and friends saying, we kept saying, my best friend's gone. He's gone. And that's when I said, oh, damn. Damn.
Let's go around the room here. Whoever wants to go in a circle, whichever, Joey or Brian, which one you two want to start, go rotation.
I can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it really was when Kevin Nash put that I think it was an Instagram story out, and it was like, okay, this is not looking great. And then it was especially hard because you had kind of steeled yourself for this when it seemed like Scott Hall was at his lowest, right before DDP comes in, and you have kind of that redemption story about 10 years ago. And then you're like, oh, Scott Hall seems to be doing well now, but apparently through the pandemic, it wasn't the best thing for his mental health. And then when you have somebody that has had health issues and they're in their 63 is not young, but it's not old either. But as soon as you hear like that somebody's had an issue with their hip, that is usually a bad sign.
Tony?
Yeah, isn't there? I don't know how confirmed it is, but didn't they find him on the floor because he was like he hurt himself, but nobody was like he couldn't get to anything to contact anybody, and then they found him, brought him to the hospital, got the surgery. I
think DDP went in to check on him, and he found like he was just down on the floor. Yeah, and that happens so much, especially if you're somebody that is living alone and maybe you don't have a cell phone nearby. Maybe you can't get to it. It's tragic.
Yeah, it's rough, but I in a positive note, it's just awesome to see so many people from the business and people's lives that he's affected just to come out and overpour. I always say, man, let's start giving these roses to people before they pass away, because it's not always the best just to wait till they're gone. I know it's a good time to memorialize them, but one of the cool things I've seen was looks like Kevin Nash and Bret Hart kind of had a little cool heart to heart in front of all of us on social media talking about Scott Hall. So that's beautiful. But yeah, like you said, the guy changed the game. The click is something that resonated and it still resonates today. Like that brotherhood, that friendship, looking out for each other in the business. Sure, they had some moments where maybe they weren't the best group, but when it comes to behind the scenes politics and politicking, but they kind of taken a little bit of the control away from the management and gave it to the talent, because they kind of showed that, you know, the talents can show what they're worth and they have a little more power than they think they do. And that resonated from that moment all the way through until today's times. I mean, a group that was formed via click is now owning their own wrestling company. So it really shows the value of the talent. And Scott was one of those guys who were at the forefront of that.
Yes, indeed.
Joe?
Yo, I didn't see the DDP stuff about him finding him or whatever. I didn't know about that until now. But I mean, I know there was the hip surgery, and then there was I guess it was a blood clot that caused like 3 heart attacks in one night. Like, dude, that's the fact that he even made it to life support. To me, that's like a miracle, man. Like, but yeah, it was. I don't remember when it was actually announced that he actually went, but they had that Raw graphic ready real quick, and I didn't see the whole Raw show. I know they sprinkled in tribute stuff to him throughout. I know Steen Owens started his promo with "Hey Yo." Somebody did the Razor's Edge. I don't remember who. I didn't see all of it.
Damian Priest.
Okay. Did it to Finn Balor, whoever it was, to the table?
Yeah.
Who the hell, was it Balor? I don't even remember.
Yeah, Finn.
Oh, okay, good. I don't even think I saw that part. That was just a guess, I think. But yeah, so I know that there was some tributes throughout and stuff, and it was real cool to see that. And the Kevin Nash post was fucking heartbreaking even before it happened. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of rough to read, especially knowing. I mean, everyone knows those guys' histories together. There's always been like even in locker rooms, like all over the place. Whenever anyone talks about those guys, it's always been the phrase has always been Scott and Kev, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Any locker room I've ever been in, any show I've ever wrestled on, anytime those guys' names are mentioned, it's never just Kevin Nash, it's never just Scott Hall, it's always Scott and Kev, and like they're like fucking Lucy and Desi, you know what I'm saying? They're always Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Minnie, whatever. They're always named together. They're always together. So I mean, it's just this is one of the. I mean, I don't get all broken up about wrestling deaths. I think I'm kind of desensitized to it now. But this is like this is one of the roughest ones, I think, or one of the not. I would say one of the most shocking ones too. But just because, like Brian said, like, he was doing good years ago. You know, it seemed like things are on the up and up, and then this kind of random fucking hip thing happens, and then that leads to the surgery, it leads to the blood clots, leads to heart attacks, blah blah blah. It just seems like it's just a shitty, all around a shitty situation, obviously.
And just back to Raw, one of the things that really was tough was just watching when they did throw it, because they had the graphic at the very beginning, and then some of the talent did do tributes in the ring and everything, but they did finally around 10 o'clock do a tribute video. They had put one together, and when they're throwing it to the video, Corey Graves is just barely holding it together, and that was very emotional.
All right, I guess I have to go back and watch that episode.
Yeah,
I don't usually watch Raw weekly, but I'll have to watch that one.
It's like I said, it's just crazy, like seeing all these people that you didn't think ever had connections in the business, and it's one of those things that you don't know as like a lot of podcasters or people listening. A lot of the guys in the back and the girls in the back, there's so many connections that they have where they meet each other via, like, they're at an independent show and they're both there, or backstage at shows. Like these people have connections, and they had moments together, and as us as fans have no idea, and they go and say like, oh my god, I met all these people, but Scott Hall was one of the nicest to me, or they gave me great advice. And it's just I don't know, it sucks. I do appreciate Kevin though putting out that post and that tweet, because it kind of like it didn't make it easier, but it definitely softened the blow, just to kind of let people know, like, hey, he's not in a good spot. He is on life support. We're gonna pull for him, and then but you know, that whole thing. But I think it was good for the fans to get that first, instead of just shocking, like, oh, by the way, Scott Hall's gone.
Yeah, most definitely. And going back to what Joey was saying a little bit ago about him and Kev, is like, it seems like their career paralleled each other from like early on
That's the word I
back
was looking for. Yeah, parallel.
in WCW, when I guess he was doing the whole Oz and Vinny Vegas spiel, and then but if you notice, like, they were both always clicked up together with DDP.
I was gonna mention because how you said you always mention Kev and Hall and Nash in the same sentence. In a business that we all know could be shady, backstabby, and all that stuff, we always throw the word brother around a lot. To me, them two embodied exactly what we all should be as brothers in this business, to look out for each other and, be there for one another no matter what. That's what I take from their relationship, their kin for each other.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into some Scott Hall like chronological tidbits and stuff of his career. I don't have nothing in front of me. I have no notes, nothing.
Now we just freestyle.
Only because we pretty much, majority of us know we followed his career, so we somewhat know. Some of us might not know certain things, so we'll learn today from each other. So that I'm sure my man Brian there, he's gonna feel the same with
He knows everything. I was just saying, he knows all of it.
Yeah, he's like everywhere. But yeah, going back, like when he first broke into the business, he started out wrestling as what? Well, he had a couple different names, wasn't it? Like no. Before that, he was like Texas Scott. I think they called him at once before. He was a Starship Coyote.
Yeah, with
Starship Coyote's a fucking tremendous name.
That was a tag team. It was American Starship.
Yep, American Starship.
Very high on them. Starship Coyote, and then Starship Eagle was Danny Spivey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was really and he looked like they even called him Magnum Scott Hall at one time, only because he looked like because he looked like Magnum PI. I'm like, I mean, come on, right there. I'm like, and the guy was jacked then. He was big, put together, trained by Hiro Masuda. Yeah, so like you can't do any better than that. I'm like, come on, you're young, you're fresh in the business, you're huge, and it's just the fact though, back then getting in the business was a lot more
difficult.
Yeah, difficult. That way, if you don't have the size and the look and stuff like such as this,
you're in a world of hurt.
Because nowadays there's big guys who's having a hard time to make a name for themselves in this business. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of big guys out there, and you see smaller guys getting way ahead of them. So when he broke in, it was like wrestling back then was more realistic to everyone because the kayfabe was still there and stuff. So for him to progress, it was and you guys mentioned about Brian. You did mention about him and Dan Spivey.
There it is.
Yeah.
Look at this Dan. like it's hard for me to see Dan Spivey like this, only because I got so used to seeing him with Mike Rotundo in the early years. See, I was so used to that, and I liked it was the whole the USA. Yes, the US Express.
The second version after Wyndham left.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Wyndham bounced what was it, WCW or no, NWA at the time. There was no WCW.
Yeah, it was Crockett. And it's funny, whenever I see Danny Spivey in that era in WWF, I always think of the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 2 because he looks like Hogan. He's in yellow trunks. He's got the long blonde hair. And you look real quick, like, is that
I've
Hogan?
always thought that, and it's always so funny to me.
But yeah, Scott. Yeah, right there at the bottom, Coyote and Eagle, but they have the names backwards. So I'm like, and they just did their thing. There were two big guys. I don't know. What
it was Gator Scott Hall for a little bit too.
Yep. Yeah, we mentioned that earlier.
But he found mega success after that when he moved over to the AWA and he teamed up with Kurt Hennig. And he mentioned before that Kurt Hennig was so much of a mentor to him that he taught him so much that like the psychology part, you know, and and he because he went to school, you know, Kurt took him to school because Kurt learned from his dad.
Yep.
Yeah. Gentlemen,
could you imagine if that tag team ever formed up again at any point in time in the like they're like the two greatest singles competitors, or
they're back together right now.
Oh my god, what a tag team that we never got outside the AWA. I mean, we got got close when Kurt joined the NWO, but Jesus, my God, look at that tag team. That doesn't get any better than that. That's the tag team right there.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm thinking back when I'm seeing this picture. I'm thinking back to
blend.
When didn't Perfect team up with was it Macho Man to take on Razor and Ric Flair?
Yeah, that was when Mr. Perfect came back after the Lloyds of London thing, where it was supposed to be Savage and the Warrior, but the Warrior had
he bailed.
Yeah,
he bailed.
That was when they steroid thing was starting to happen, and drug testing was starting to be a big thing in WWF, and all of a sudden, the Ultimate Warrior and the British Bulldog kind of go away. And yeah, Mr. Perfect, that was when he agreed to team with Macho Man on Primetime Wrestling, and he dumps the pitcher of water on Bobby Heenan's head, and that's his babyface turn.
Yeah, because I guess Bobby was doing the heel manager role where
Perfect was the manager.
Well,
yeah, Heenan's neck was
Bobby
bad.
Was the manager above them.
Yes.
It was like a tier.
He was manager for the commentary table, yeah. And then
yeah.
Mr. Perfect was managing at ringside.
Yeah, so we got to see the whole babyface turn for Kurt Hennig, and that was you know, and we didn't even now we're talking about Kurt, you know, we were talking about Razor this time. But it is what it is. As time goes on, you know, he had a very successful run with Kurt Hennig, hands down, and then he ends up moving.
I got a
on.
real quick shameless promo. If you want to learn more about Hennig, he has a cool backstory, all coming from him and a bunch of other great stars coming from the same high school. We did a past episode on Robbinsdale High. If you ever want to go check that out.
Oh, sweet! You heard that, everyone.
The whole Minnesota crew, man.
Yeah, we did a 2-part episode on that. Brian did a fantastic job running down the
literally
entire history.
the same high school, and it's one that Vern Gagne, I believe, I went to. Greg Gagne went to. Not Scott Hall, but Kurt Hennig. Rick Rude, John Nord, Barry Darso, Nikita Koloff, like so many.
Do you have an season episode number that people can track it down real quick?
If you just type in Tornado Tag Robbinsdale High School, it should pop up, but I will get that for you while we're going.
On YouTube or your Patreon, or
everything
would be
Spotify,
easy?
YouTube, the whole nine. Yeah, Facebook.
All right, so you heard that, people here. Type in Tornado Tag Podcast Robbinsdale High School, and you get a nice little story there.
It isn't really known now because it's so far in the rearview mirror, but the AWA was such a breeding ground for talent. Hogan comes out of there, Heenan comes out of there, Scott Hall comes out of there. So much talent.
Oh, most definitely.
83 and 84, episode 83 and 84.
Okay. You heard that, people. 83, 84, Tornado Tag Podcast, Robbinsdale High School.
Yo, how long? I'm just reading of this now, the DDP thing. It says he was immobile on the floor for days before DDP found him.
Yeah.
How long was he just laying there?
They're thinking about 3 to 4 days.
So he wasn't he like yelling and nobody heard him in the house or whatever? Because was he living at DDP's house or whatever?
I don't think so. I think he was living alone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's I mean, I don't want to like throw dirt or anything, but supposedly during the pandemic, mental health was a problem, and he might have he went back to the bottle a little bit because it was just rough for him to not be social and see people and always be alone. Yeah. And then I guess during one of intoxications, he fell and hurt himself, and that's kind of how it would all spiraled this.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm just reading that now.
Yeah.
And speaking of DDP, his career parallels with so many superstars out there from the early on. I guess he was a radio DJ, and then he got into managing and stuff like that. And then he starts, you know, hooking up with all these wrestlers who are famous today, who are legends, Hall of Famers. And he made an impact in all their lives. And just so happens, one of them just happened to be Scott when he was the Diamond stud. Yeah, when I
like
seen him,
almost like the beginning of the Razor character.
yeah,
Very
but
much so, yeah.
I did not see him as a Cuban like this though.
No.
I was looking at like more of like a male stripper type.
Him as the Diamond Stud in WCW is, to me, the beginning of the Razor character, in the same vein that like Steve Austin ECW is the same. Sorry, not the same. The start of like Stone Cold. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like,
yeah, you're seeing the seed there, but it's not quite there yet.
Right, but years later when you watch it, you can go back in your mind and go, oh shit, that was the Diamond Stud was like kind of evolved into this.
Hey, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I know.
If you're asking him, you're probably wrong.
Yeah. I know Scott. I know he was teaming with Oz before. I'm trying to remember. Was he teaming with Vinny when Oz was Vinny Vegas? When Kev
Vinny Vegas came a little bit after that. Oz, I think when he was teaming with the Diamond Stud, he was more Vinny Vegas than Oz.
Okay. So, and going back to what Joe said about them parallel, look right there, WCW ahead of the game. You know, before NWO, before they went and made it big in WWF, they were already in cahoots together right there in WCW from the door, from the get-go. And by far, those two characters, the Stud and Vegas, they worked great together because the image, the look, and then with DDP there, I'm surprised WCW didn't do a hell lot more, because back then they were all about pro wrestling, whether it's WCW or WWF. It was gimmicky, and I feel they dropped the ball and let them move on. But you know what is what it is? It benefited them in the long run. So
I feel like they may have suffered just because at that point, I think if they would have been around when Eric Bischoff was in control of things, maybe they get a better look because they have more of that WWE ready look to them. But they're in WCW at a point where there's a new guy in charge every 10 seconds. You had Kip Fry, you had I think they left around the time Bill Watts.
Yeah. I can't even think.
Jim Hurd might have even been around at that point. Ole's booking for a little bit.
You had people involved who didn't even care about wrestling, who can give two shits. They were just worried about the bottom line. So it was like, okay, you're not making us money. Instead of trying to repackage you, rebrand you, do some kind of storyline, we're just going to get rid of you, bring someone else. We're going to.
So they
do what we gotta do.
They had so much talent that they just squandered, and even up to, and this is Bischoff, but Steve Austin. Look at all the people that they had and they squandered. Triple H was there, Cactus Jack was there, and he did a little better than some of them. Scott Hall was there, Kevin Nash was there, and they did nothing.
Yeah, go back one photo real quick.
Yeah, okay.
If I can take a pill and get his chest on my body, look at his physique.
What about his overalls?
Jesus Christmas. Scott Hall always just had a fantastic look, but that, like, he might have the best chest in professional wrestling. Look at that thing. He made it cool too. I remember being a kid skiing Scott Hall and Shawn Michaels. I'm like, yeah, I want chest hair when I get older. I think that looks like he made it look cool.
And the thing here with DDP too is he's still a manager. He's not even wrestling at this point. He's starting to learn, but he teamed a little bit once Scott Hall left to become Razor Ramon. He started teaming with Vinny Vegas a little bit, and that's when he started getting the wrestling. But he was a late bloomer. He was a manager first.
Sorry to go backwards, but Jesus Christmas, look at that guy.
yo, we're about to see Anthony shooting dollar bills at the screen.
Dude was a stud. Yo, actually too, I grew up, I have a real bad widow's peak, and I used to always get picked on in school. And the first time I seen Scott Hall and he had the curl, I was like, all right, I'm good. If he can rock it and look cool, I can do it.
Yeah, I did not know they had these particular cards out with this design. I remember they had the red and yellow design cards with the confetti type around the border.
Those
I
are
remember
the black
them.
and gold.
These ones I don't remember. I'm like, I wish I did. Also, I would have got some of these ones. They're just, I kind of like the layout, a little bit,
I like how these card ideas are coming back in the independent scene. Like, there's a lot of promotions that are making cards, and I think it's a cool idea.
And there, you even see it there, the Razors. Well, at this point, the Diamond Death Drop, the DDD, but he's already got the finish and everything.
And then, yeah, has the look. And the one thing he made cool was that whole toothpick. Speaking of toothpick, here he is. We got one of the promo shots of him without the championship. And he debuted back in 92, I believe, right?
92,
in
Yeah,
yeah, that's when they were spitting out all those vignettes, which I thought they were pretty cool. When WWE does those kind of vignettes, like even like with Carlito before they come on the scene. Who else? They did a whole shitload of vignettes different, but his is when Ted DiBiase too as well. You know, $1 million. You know, his things too. These are memorable. Instead of guys just debuting on TV, I hate that. I like the vignettes. It's that build up. It's that anticipation of people can't wait to see this guy.
It was literally the peak of Sean O'Hare's career, were the vignettes, and then he wrestled. It's like, oh damn.
I love vignettes. They should do those more as we get one for the last 3 months for Veer.
That's what we're about to bring up. That's exactly it. So he's super ecstatic about Veer then.
2052.
Yeah.
Years coming still.
You
Like,
should
damn,
be-
when's he gonna get here?
You should be happy. You get all your vignettes.
Hell yeah, come on, Beer. And you know, and he's a big dude, and I hope they don't drop. I'm like usually when they have a lot of foreign guys, depends on who they are and what they can do. Depends, you know, they come in for a little bit, they make some noise, and then they become a mid-carder. He's a big dude. And like I actually like to see more and more of foreigners start going over, making names for themselves a lot more because back then, you know, you had the whole gimmickry of like when you got like the Koloffs and stuff like that. They were over like Fat Rats and stuff like that, and, you know. And then like Scott coming in and playing a Cuban. Yeah, like, come on, you got a white guy playing a Cuban at, you know, trying to be Tony Montana,
basically.
Who's also a white guy playing a Cuban.
Exactly.
Italian
It fits.
guy.
Good point. That's like Joey Diaz, the comedian.
Oh yeah,
He-
Coco.
He's Puerto Rican and he plays an Italian mobster all
Plays
the time.
Italians, yeah.
Yeah, but he's Puerto Rican.
There's
Isn't he
a
Cuban as well? He's Puerto Rican Cuban.
Well, he's something long. He's Latin though.
Yeah.
He's
He's not
not
Italian.
No,
But he ain't
no,
Italian,
not at
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
there's a rich history of that. I mean, Ivan Koloff is French Canadian, and Nikita Koloff is from Minnesota.
From
and
Minnesota, exactly.
TJ Strongbow's Italian. There's Billy White Wolf was Iranian, and then he became an evil Iraqi later. So yeah, there's a million of those.
Does it ever get old for you guys to feel weird when like if you see Nikita Koloff in recent years
He speaks in his
s-
regular voice.
Yeah, doing sermons and speeches when you see him now, like damn, that's not the Nikita I grew up on. Oh man, I can't. And he still goes by Nikita Koloff. That's the thing though. That's the
Hey, you got the
that's the
brand.
funny. Yeah. So yeah, early on he's coming into WWF, that is, and look, we got a shot of Razor
Long
wearing
tights.
long ass tights, and this was a dark match back in 92. Brian, do you have the date of that? I think it was on like Superstars or something.
Yeah, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but it would have probably been summer of 92 because you start getting the vignettes around that time too. It was on, I don't know if it's on Peacock, but it was on the network because they had all
Yes.
those hidden gem things
And-
where you had Yokozuna as Kokina, you'd have Max Moon was still Conan as the comic kid. You would have all those things. But yeah, this would have probably been around, I would say, mid 92.
Yeah,
So
we
where do you-
we
where
kind
do you
of
think
figure
they
it
got
out
the-
because he got El Matador there, Tito Santana. He's facing.
Where do you think they got the idea for the name Razor?
From Coke. From
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It had to be
Scarface.
Coke, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
from
Coke.
Scarface.
With the
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Cuban.
he's talked about it before, yeah.
Yeah, the story is Vince saw Scarface finally. Somehow in the early 90s, you see Scarface for the first time.
We
He's
need
like,
a character who does coke, and we'll name him Razor.
Take your pick, man. We got a whole locker room full.
To be fair, the Road Warriors were still there, so they had plenty of characters that did coke.
So we could have had Razor Hawk and Razor Animal.
Yeah.
Imagine if he would approach Tito with that same gimmick.
Tito, I want you
Yo.
to
You want to do coke?
We're gonna put a lot of chains on you.
But
I can't imagine Tito Santana as a heel. It does not compute.
but here
About coke,
here and seeing this picture, I can imagine Tito's voice. For those who met Tito and know how he speaks, he has that
I love
voice.
that guy.
Hey, brother, you know, and then like, and then you're working a white guy who's being Cuban, and I could like if Tito was a ribber, like a real bad ribber, I could see him trying to call spots in Spanish to Razor, like what the hell he's saying? I can't. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be Cuban.
Taco
Supposed to
Grande.
understand. Yeah. I'm
know
gonna hit you with the flying burrito. You know, the one that Jesse Ventura calls it.
Scott Hall's just like, what the hell is a Martinette?
Now, guys, Razor had coming in as a heel. He had so many matches against baby faces, but the one that stands out, I think, the most of him as a heel going against a fresh, young, babyface kid, as I should say, was none other than him taking on Sean Waltman, X-Pac. On the back of the tights there.
Didn't they debut the
Leonard,
first
yeah.
Monday Night Raw?
Not the first one. This was early Raw. That's still the Manhattan Center.
Yeah.
But even before this, like they fast tracked Razor. He goes right into a program with Randy Savage and helps cost Savage the WWF title in the match with Flair and Hershey. I believe he came out to distract him, and then Flair hit the knee, and then he goes right from that to wrestling Bret Hart for the title at the Royal Rumble in '93, and then you get to this, and this is when Raw is starting to take off. This is like the first few months of Raw.
Dude, the first episode, couple episodes of Raw are fantastic. Where you have Bobby pretending to try to sneak into the arena and dressing like women.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was great. That was great. And some of the commentator, like the one commentator guy, I don't know who
Rob
the hell he was.
Bartlett.
Yes,
Rob
I
Bartlett.
couldn't stand him. I could not.
I loved him.
stand-
Everybody hates him. I loved Rob Bartlett.
Man,
Yeah, he
I did
sucked.
not. That's all. I'm like, I would prefer Doc Hendricks.
Rob Bartlett, it was unique because he knew nothing about wrestling. He was a guy Vince McMahon knew and liked because Vince McMahon was a fan of Don Imus, the radio DJ, and Rob Bartlett was
We know who he is.
yeah he's
was.
Rob Bartlett was on Imus's show, and that's where Vince McMahon kind of got him.
Now the story behind this is like what? Didn't he lose first to Razor at first or something?
He lost a bunch of matches, but I don't think he lost the
He
Razor.
won
He
the
lost, like,
fucking. Didn't he win the? He won the baby diaper match or whatever the fuck.
Well,
That was way later.
Wasn't there one about the one angle where like if you beat me, you get this money, and he was trying to do it for his wife and kid?
Yeah, what happened was Lightning Kid comes on and he loses a bunch of matches. And I'm like, oh, it's the Lightning Kid because I remember him from Global. He was in Global in '92.
him and Jerry Lynn.
Great matches. And so I think he lost to Doink. He lost just a bunch of like even lower level guys in Razor. And then he's wrestling Razor and he gets the upset. And Razor's so mad that he gets the win that he chases him out of the building and chases him down the steps at the Manhattan Center. And if you've ever been there, Manhattan Center is like way up on the building. You have to go.
Yeah, it's like 8 floors, upper 18
Yeah.
floors or some shit like that.
And
I would hate to carry the ring up that.
I've heard nightmare stories about guys
Yeah.
carrying the Ring of Honor ring up there. I'm like, holy Christ. A lot of them.
especially ECW too.
And then they do a match where like Razor's all angry because he's embarrassed that he lost to the Lightning Kid, and now he's the 1-2-3 kid. He's like really beating Razor. So yeah, he offers $10,000 if we'll fight him again, because the kid's like, no, I don't want to fight you again. I'll lose. So he does, and I think he just takes a bag of money and runs out. I think that's the finish of the match.
Yeah, I like whoever came up with this planned this idea of this match here, this story between Razor and the Kid. They were absolute geniuses because right there,
elevated both of them.
Well, for guys on the indies, seeing someone the size of the Kid go over and start getting put over on more matches and stuff like that, and they're like, hey, if he can make it, some of us small, they're giving a chance to this small guy to do something with his career. And whoever came up with this, like I said, is a genius, because then it inspired a lot more guys saying, hey, just because I'm small doesn't mean I'm not going to be able to make it. And now today we see guys smaller than
him,
smaller than him, doing their thing. So kudos to the Kid to be the inspiration for a lot of others, and kudos for Razor being one guy to help make it happen.
Because how many guys, especially back then, would have been like, no, I'm not going to lose to him.
Yeah, exactly. And
especially in a diaper.
Even to this day, and like especially
Kid lost the diaper match. That was later.
and right here, that was when he was heel, right? Yeah,
Kid was heel at that point.
Yeah. So here's the finishing moment of the match where he's hitting the moonsault off the top rope, which I don't think we ever really saw. Like we saw moonsaults before, but not with a standing opponent, really, into a finish like that, into a pinning position.
At
so
that point, it was probably just a Great Muta, really, on mainstream TV that was doing it.
Well, not with a standing opponent.
Yeah. Well, that would be a moonsault press back then. They would call that a moonsault press, and if it was just a guy on the ground, it would be a moonsault.
Yeah.
Was it Hall and Kurt who shaved his eyebrows for his action figure toy? Like when he had to go get photo shoots to get his. Was it Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall?
It sounds like a Kurt Hennig move, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, when 123 Kid had to get his old LGN and they had to get his photos taken to put on the box. If you see the old box of the 123 Kid, he has no eyebrows. They shaved him off because they knew he had to go get that photo shoot. They said it was Kurt and Scott, but it sounds. It
definitely sounds like a page out of the Kurt Hennig playbook. He got somebody's teeth knocked out once from something he did. he cut up one of the Rougeau's ring gear, and Dynamite Kid got blamed for it.
Oh my god! I'm looking at it right now. That's hilarious.
I remember hearing about this, but I totally forgot until you guys brought it up.
Yeah, if you Google the 123 Kid toy, like the box of the toy,
I googled 123 Kid no eyebrows, and that's the person. There's like 30 pictures of it right here. Oh, that's amazing. There's one of them is a super close up
in
from the old Hasbros.
In WCW, when somebody had to hide under the ring once, Kurt Hennig was under there too, and he may have went number 2 in a bucket, so they had to just kind of deal with being in there with a bucket the whole night.
Pro wrestling,
I know.
But the other brilliant thing. Oh, sorry, Chad.
No. Go ahead. You're still talking. Go ahead.
The other brilliant thing there, when they did that whole thing with the 123 Kid, I think they already knew that Razor Ramon was going babyface at that point, because the turn comes a few months later, and they have the story perfectly planned out where he does the same thing and helps PJ Walker, who becomes Aldo Montoya later, get the upset on Ted DiBiase. And that's that summer. And then obviously it's another thing where Razor's not going to get hurt by that loss because he's turning babyface soon. So he's going to have a new new feel to him anyway.
And it was a goal for him because he had a lot of great matches as a baby face, guys like Jeff Jarrett. And then this shot here we got to see at WrestleMania 10. And this here, WrestleMania 10 here, this was a phenomenal pay-per-view. This one here, from hands down, there was a lot of great matches on this. And
I literally just watched it yesterday because we're going to be talking about it on Tornado Tag.
That's going to be our topic on Thursday is WrestleMania 10.
He put the background of the Kid. That's great. Thanks, Joe.
That's I'd never heard that story and I never noticed it. That's the funniest goddamn thing. I know Sean too. I've known him for years. I cannot wait to call him and break his fucking balls. That's so funny.
I watched this match so many times. I remember when the pay-per-view happened and you recorded it, but you had 48 hours to watch it as many times as you wanted. I watched this pay-per-view over and over, and when this match came on, I was glued to the TV. I mean, I went out and bought the shirt that Homage made for it here. Mm-hmm. I was a diehard Shawn fan. You couldn't tell me anybody else in wrestling existed except Shawn Michaels. And if you wrestled Shawn, forget about it. You were dead to me. And
wait a minute. If nobody else existed, how do you have any opponents?
Oh, listen, Sean could do no wrong in my eyes, and I still have a hard time with that. But me and Brian rib each other on the podcast. But I seen this match, and after it was over, I was like, I became a Razor fan. I loved Razor Ramon, and he was like the first guy to really break me out of that shell where I can support other people.
The match still holds up. I literally watched it yesterday. It still holds up. But when I saw it like live, when I was watching WrestleMania as it happened on pay-per-view, it had a little bit of the luster lost because I saw about 70% of the match before. They did a ladder match like that January at the Spectrum in Philly. And it was
Brett and Shawn Michaels, right? Or no?
No, it was Razor and Shawn Michaels.
Razor and Shawn Michaels. I mean,
Yeah, because they do it as like dark match at
they
the
would
house show, and then they
run
do
it through on the house show
pay-per-view.
loop. Yeah, and it was mostly the same match. They turned it up to 11 for the pay-per-view, but I was like, yeah, Diesel's gonna get kicked out. This is gonna happen. Sean's gonna crouch himself on the ropes. I'm 10. Like I didn't say crouch himself, but I'm like I'm thinking like, okay, these things are all gonna happen, and then lo and behold, they did.
And our dear friend Earl there, and
the great Earl Hebner.
Yeah, every time we meet somebody at a show, they become our dear friend. That's our little gimmick we have too. Our dear friend Earl. I raised his hand in a ring one time. It happened. There's a photo of it.
Yeah, he's a funny dude to talk with.
He's amazing. He's so good.
Yeah. So we got the. What's your thoughts on this, Sean T? Because we're not hearing from you as much. You're over here like.
Well, because you guys are talking. I don't want to interrupt.
Jump right in. That's what it is. It's conversation. You gotta jump right in, bro.
I'm hungry.
I really don't have anything on his older stuff like before. Like this was the evolution of Razor for me. Was the Shawn WrestleMania match. I thought that was like the greatest damn match I've seen at that point. You know what I mean? Until Brett versus Shawn WrestleMania 12, and that just changed everything for me.
Well, there was another really banger match on that card that involved Bret Hart. On that,
Well, actually, it was two. There was two banger matches on that, but the one that you're talking about is probably the opening match of the show
with his brother. Yeah,
that's the one. I love that. I just love that one. And then the story at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the beginning and the end just played perfectly together.
Mm-hmm. I'm still to this day obsessed with Sean's ring gear, that pay-per-view, because the white with the red zebra stripes. That to this day is my favorite Sean gear. And then he comes down, he looks at the ladder and walks around it.
And Razor's like, nope, straight under.
Well,
right under. He goes under the ladder.
Well, didn't they do a second ladder match at
SummerSlam?
Yeah.
It wasn't as popular as
it's a little bit harder to
it's different. It's a babyface match, so like they're both baby faces, and the dynamics a little different. Excellent match though. Excellent match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like and speaking of ladder matches, it's like how people always praise the tag match between the Hardys, Edge Christian, and the Dudley Boys, which I think the better one of that was by far just when it was the Hardys against Edge and Christian. I think that was blue. You didn't need the Dudleys. Like that first match that they did at No Mercy was phenomenal right there, alone just by itself. But yeah, we got Razor here. He's doing big things. He's the champion. Won the title, lost the title. He had the fuse with Jeff Jarrett. I think that was pretty great with Jeff Jarrett. I love Jeff Jarrett when he was in his when he first came in as Double J with the roadie. I loved him with the Road Dogg when Road Dogg was roadie.
I love that the whole idea behind his character is he was going to somehow leverage a career in wrestling to being a big country music star. Like this is somehow a reasonable path to superstardom.
Yeah, I mean, it's working for the Paul brothers. They're becoming famous boxing people.
Yeah. And WWE now.
Well, yeah, now they're going to be on the
Jeff Jarrett set the blueprint.
Yeah.
Well,
real quick to go back to that ladder match, the fans are kind of petitioning right now that every WrestleMania should have a ladder match in it for the Intercontinental title and call it the Scott Hall Memorial ladder match.
That's a really cool idea. I haven't seen that yet, but that's a cool idea.
But one of the great things about that ladder match too, and it's fresh on my mind because I literally just watched it yesterday. It feels like you don't get this in a lot of ladder matches now. like the psychology is so tight where you feel like both guys are actively trying to win the match instead of trying to do the most creative spots with the ladder, and it's so refreshing.
Well, here's my thought on that. They already got Money in the Bank doing that all the time. Change that to the Scott Hall. The Scott Hall Money in the Bank type match. It like you got 6 guys out there trying to be innovated as much as possible.
I don't know. I like the WrestleMania because the match it's synonymous with WrestleMania.
Well, if they do it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and listen, the IC title needs as much help as it could possibly get right now because the company doesn't know how to book it.
Plus, they also like to do the get a million people on the card match. You can still throw 6 people in. They're not going to move Money in the Bank back to Mania just because it's kind of like their 3rd or 4th biggest show now, but probably their 4th biggest behind Mania, SummerSlam, and
let's be real, Money in the Bank always goes for the main title, so this kind of gives the IC some light, and then it makes you have something to look forward to every WrestleMania. By oh shit, whoever the champion is going to be in a 6-way ladder match at Mania for the Scott Hall Memorial. Like I just think it's a cool idea. I hope they really listen to the fans on that one.
What if they do at Money in the Bank? They do 2 ladder matches of Money in the Bank. One for SmackDown, one for Raw. The winner of each one competes at Mania for the Scott Hall one-on-one for the opportunity to face the Intercontinental Champion, not for the main title. Save Royal Rumble. The winner of the Rumble goes after the main title. Turn this into just
they can't book long term for 2 weeks, let alone from July Money in the Bank to WrestleMania in March.
They can't book for the next day. Like, oh, we're changing this. Like, what? We just did this angle yesterday. What the hell? It's on TV. Oh, it never happened. If we're gonna take it off Peacock, and and it never happened at all. We're not gonna talk about it. Just like Chris Benoit. What
if they do a ladder match and the one thing you won in the ladder match is the right to wrestle Veer Mahan in his first match on Raw?
There it is.
Well, you never have to work him then.
There you go.
No, they can no. They cannot take my vignettes away. There cannot work at all. Just vignettes. That's all he's getting paid for. That's all he's getting booked for. Vignettes.
Well, he also wrestles a lot on main event. He's too early for Raw.
There's a video of him yelling for somebody in like a Walmart or something, and somebody is saying Veer's doing everything but debuting.
Veer's on checkout at Walmart.
Yeah, for real.
He's doing the
he's
checkout
on the mic.
No, don't even play. All right. Yeah, we're moving along. Eventually, I don't have the picture here. I did not of the curtain call.
Yeah.
That put one particular person in some hot water, and that'd be Triple H. But then years later, now he's laughing.
Well, technically, it put them all in hot water. They just
but
three of them they couldn't do nothing too.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't matter to Scott. He was jumping ship over to
and it's one of those domino effect things too, because that happens. Triple H gets punished. He doesn't win King of the Ring. Steve Austin does. He drops the Austin 316 promo, and the rest is history.
And then we have the synonymous of the invasion angle, where, like I said, I don't have all the picks that I wanted to find. Some wouldn't let me save properly.
Says, okay, you know people, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Thank you, Anthony. Very, very impressive. You're going to be a voiceover actor. We're going to do a anime version of Scott Hall, and we're going to have Anthony playing
Isn't there
Scott.
more to that quote, too, about Billionaire Ted and Nacho Man?
Yeah, because they had done, for months, they did those skits on WWF, where it was the Huckster, the Nacho Man, Billionaire Ted, Scheme Gene. So Scott Hall is coming in and just throwing it back in their face. Where are they? We're here.
Yeah, and the camera was shooting the crowd when he was coming in through the crowd and got in the ring. They're like, what the hell is he doing here? Like, what the hell's going on?
Because until WWF sued and they made it clear that this wasn't the case, because there was literally litigation.
Yeah. Right.
They tried to make it seem like WWF was invading WCW.
Right.
without name dropping. And
This
it
picture,
was-
this picture right here was like the first time I think I'd ever heard the phrase WWF mentioned on WCW TV. When Bischoff asked, like, "You guys work for the WWF?" and Nash was like, "Nope."
This is where
that
Nash
promo
debuts
right
as a secret, as his partner, right? He's
Yeah,
like, I'm bringing somebody.
Yeah.
this might have been one of the other weeks maybe he came out, because when this initially when he initially debuted, Hall was on one side and he's pointing
That's
at Bischoff behind you, and Nash would be on the opposite side of Bischoff, and he would be in the middle.
that is that night, but it's later. The first week is just Scott Hall, and he's wearing like denim, and he there's a match. It's like Mike Enos,
and was it fucking? I don't remember now.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy. And,
I know it was Mike Enos though.
And just middle of the match, Scott Hall walks in, and everybody's like, "What the hell?" And they get out of there. Like the match just stops. It's like this, because they're trying to give that this wasn't supposed to happen thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And then next week, Nash shows up.
Well, didn't he do a whole thing where I have another partner coming?
That
like
comes
somebody else is coming.
Yeah, that comes later. And
I think he did that for a couple weeks, right? Didn't he do it for like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Nash didn't show up for 2 or 3 weeks, right?
And then Bischoff goes to him, "Well, who's your guy? Who's your guy?" And that's where he points behind him. And then
like, I'm fucking standing right here, man.
And then the whole thing comes about the third man and the big match at the Bash of the Beach. But that whole thing where they said, "Do you work for WWF?" and they go, "No." That was at the Great American Bash, and that's the same time that you're kind of just outing Bischoff as the guy who's running the show, and then Nash powerbombs him off the stage through a table.
Yeah, done so well. I wasn't a huge WCW guy, but this was done fantastic.
Oh, the early steps of the NWO were amazing. The incident where they throw Ray into the trailer and
they fucking lawn darted him.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to that, was it Bash at the Beach pay-per-view where it's what 2-on-3 and they're waiting for their third man?
Yeah, it was Nash Hall and their mystery partner against Luger, Sting, and Randy Savage.
And then I guess they're all down. Next thing you know, you got the Hulkster coming out, to save the day. And next thing you know, he's dropping the big leg on Savage,
and it becomes the biggest heel turn in history.
And one of the most important too, I think.
Yeah. And I guess the backup plan they said was Sting, because they were worried.
Or Mabel.
What? Where the hell are you coming with this shit?
You got to listen to Bischoff's podcast.
Who booked this kid?
He explains the whole thing. There's a fucking T-shirt. Mabel was the third man.
No.
The original speculation was like Luger, but that was just the original speculation.
Mabel, the greatest King of the Ring winner.
Oh, stop it! I was at that King of the Ring. It was awful.
I
had to watch Savio Vega wrestle 4 times in one night.
And you know what? And then it's kind of it's funny when you look at this. It's like when you see this picture, you got Scott and Keb. They're still freshly new. Hogan been around for years already. What you got?
It was Meltzer that said it. Actually,
Oh.
he was naming. I don't remember when this is from. Back in July, whenever it was, whatever year around that time or whatever.
96.
But I don't know if this came out then or if they were just talking about it back
okay.
then. And he was like, blah 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 blah. Hall and Nash were discussing names, with Mabel as the top candidate, Crush also being considered, and then also Bret Hart. Bret Hart's name was also floating around.
Yeah, because
and then somebody brought that up to Bischoff on his podcast, and he was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So Bischoff had a shirt made and said Mabel was the third man. I don't know if they have like, is there an 83weeks.com or something? I don't know.
Yeah, they were men on a mission. So
Hall and Nash were on a mission, so why not Mabel? Actually, Oscar should have been the third man. He could have wrapped into the ring.
Yeah, hands down.
As long as it's anything better than that Max fucking Caster bullshit, please. Then I hope it is. I hope it would have. If it was better than that, fine. But this has got to go.
Okay.
I'm kind of I like Max Caster
because you said wrapped to the ring. That's what he does. That's a direct reference.
Oscar is fresh in my head because I just watched WrestleMania 11 or WrestleMania 10 yesterday, and the tag title match there is Men on a Mission against the Quebecers.
Now,
Our dear friend.
I can't find the shirt.
I gotta honestly ask you, when this was going on before Hogan was introduced as a third man, yous were thinking it was gonna be another former WWF star coming in as the third guy.
It was.
No, I mean, I'm not talking about Hogan. I'm like,
well, no, I thought it was Hogan because I thought it was Hogan because
he was still with the company though. He's with WCW. I'm talking about one who just left.
Right,
just like Hall and Nash.
There it is. Mabel was the third man. Sorry.
Okay,
I just found the shirt. I found the shirt. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. At this point in time, I was strictly WBE. I was young, and I drew the line in the sand. I wouldn't watch the other competitors. So when this was going on, I wasn't watching live. So a lot of this is I got later on once I started going back and researching.
This was when I had first started learning about the magical thing called dirt sheets. I got it like one of those magazines off the like Wrestling World or somewhere like that, and they had an ad for the Pro Wrestling Torch. So I was a very new subscriber to the Pro Wrestling Torch at this time, and they had kind of pegged it was Hogan at that point. At first, they were saying Wade Keller was saying Luger, and then somebody even on Nitro, there's a thing where like there's a sign that says Luger is the third man. But I think they had it in their head like either Bret Hart, but they couldn't get Bret because Bret wasn't ready to leave WWF yet, even though he was on his little sabbatical and his contract was up. But then Hogan, it was pretty clear that Hogan was going to be the guy.
Wasn't Shawn threatening Vince that he was going to leave too?
Yeah, but he had a contract, so he could threaten only once and it wasn't going to do anything. Oh, there it is. Mabel was the third man. Oh, with Men on a Mission colors too. Great.
Yeah.
Shawn was also
only $18 on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Shawn was the reigning WWF champion at the time, so Vince wasn't going to let him out of his contract for anything.
Yeah, if he would have left the company and somehow finagled his way into WCW and becoming the third guy after these two just left,
I became a WCW fan.
As
that would that there would have been mind blowing. But imagine how many hearts of fans that Hogan broke. You're being that babyface guy from the early on WWE days when he beat the Iron Sheik. I'm a real American, blah, blah, blah. Comes over to WCW doing his thing. And then next thing you know, it's like you're just like sticking a knife in their heart. Like hell with all your saying your prayers, eating your vitamins and stuff like that.
Doing your steroids.
And not just that. And not just that, even though they would come out and say, no, we don't work for the WWF, it's still like we're invading. We're the guys from the North invading. And in 1996, even though he's been gone from there for 2 or 3 years at this point, to a lot of people, Hulk Hogan still is the WWF. It's still, they're synonymous.
Well,
he's still using the WWF character. The Hulkamania thing was all WWF. So even when he went over to WCW, it was just like, WWF's biggest star is over there using his same gimmicks, his same colors.
Randy Savage is there. A lot of them are there. Luger's there again. Luger was a big guy for a little bit there. National.
I still wish we would have got if Vince would have just let him do it once and let Macho Man do his retirement where he finished his career with Shawn. Oh my God, that'd have been awesome.
Now, gentlemen, do you feel that the NWO was oversaturated with talent?
Oh yeah, absolutely. By the time the end of it, yeah, it was too much.
Like anybody and everybody was NWO, and then they broke off in two separate entities, the Wolfpack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your thoughts on the Wolfpack though? You got
Latino World Order.
You got Scott still with the regular NWO. Kevin goes and starts doing the pack with Sting, Luger, Conan.
That was the worst thing because he had the red face paint. He just looked perpetually embarrassed. It was bad.
But yeah, they had all those things going on where
Disco Inferno.
Yeah, don't get me started.
But my favorite NWO moment is when Sting takes off the mask of Sting just to have his face paint still.
That was in TNA. That wasn't TNA.
No, that was WCW when everyone's.
Oh yeah, because there was a bunch of fake Stings. One of them was actually Sting. Yeah.
Oh my God, so silly. He takes off the mask of Sting.
It's the exact same design.
we know talent has their own demons and stuff like that going on in their life, alcoholism and stuff like that. And it was no big secret for some of us who are in the business who, we hear about the stuff through the dirt sheets and whatnot. When Nash and Hall, when they were doing their thing in the ring, their little angle where they had the gimmick of Nash pretending like he's drinking, with Hall, and then Hall turns his back, and then he shows the cup upside down. He turns it upside down, and it's empty. How'd you feel of them bringing real life situation, like personal issues, into a storyline such as that? Like it's one thing. Okay, kayfabe was supposed to somewhat be there because it was changing, but then at the same time, you really don't want to bring too much of your personal life into real life. Into the business like that. You want to try to keep some of it private, but they just literally brought it.
I think I don't know the situation with Scott Hall, but it seemed like Scott was more on board with it because he was in control of how it was going down. I'll just use a recent comparison, the Jeff Hardy one, where they came back again and used Jeff Hardy's demons against him. And then Jeff just kind of got sick of it. And like recent times just walks away from a match. And now the entire internet community is like, Jeff Hardy's an alcoholic. He's a druggie. He's back on the wagon. He's a piece of shit. He's this, he's that. And then his drug test comes back clean and he is on nothing. And now the internet, we knew it. We love you, Jeff. Like, no. And that doesn't escalate as much as it does if maybe 4 months before that, they don't do a whole angle where Jeff Hardy runs someone over with a car, but it's not him. So you have to be really careful when you deal with that stuff. But I think it comes down to the comfortability of the talent and not just saying yes because they want to get on TV and get work, and them actually truly being comfortable with the situation.
And
that's exactly what I was about to say. It all depends on the talent and what vulnerability are you willing to give the audience of your personal space. It's
not the first time a company did that.
No. They tend to use real life situations all the time, but it's always on the talent to say, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. That's a little bit personal. But in the same
sometimes they talk them into it, like with extra money and stuff, which is like, it's like selling your soul,
In the same retrospect, controversy makes money, and
it creates cash.
Yeah.
And then like what I'm looking at for the other times that they also did something similar. They did it with Hawk, Jake Roberts. They did with Lawler and Punk. Yeah, they did it with all these different guys. And I don't know. My feel is that for something like that, for that kind of demon, as far as that goes, keep it private because because sometimes, yes, you might be on board for it, whether it's for the money. You might be at a good space in your life where a good place in your life where maybe you can use it as part of the business, but at the same time, sometimes those demons catch back up with you, and then it'll hit you, and then everyone's out there quick to judge you. Then like, oh, see, he was doing clean, he was doing good, and now look at him, he's back to the same old shit. Where like the final days of him, where you were saying you were mentioning about the whole COVID and being locked down and how it got to him and stuff like that. But that's just my viewpoint. Like we all have our own different opinions of how to do business and stuff. Hey, if it's for the money and they're doing it, like, oh, okay, that's their choice. But some people might feel differently, though.
It's just it all is on taste, retrospect, and the comfortability of the talent, as he said. Am I willing to give that personal space to the audience? Am I willing to do this no matter what the outcome? And it's always on that person. Like, all right, are we going to do this? We're not going to do this. Either something big is going to happen or not. The whole Jeff situation, that was trash. Like, we all know the dude's history. Why are you going to bring this? Just let him wrestle. Let him wrestle. This has nothing to do with anything.
Now,
and now it's their loss.
Well, the
He's-
big thing too with the Jeff Hardy thing is if you think somebody is in that kind of state, shouldn't you assess that before they get in the ring? Didn't Arn
Yes,
Anderson
sir.
Anderson get fired for letting Alicia Fox wrestle drunk?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I heard,
That's why Arn's no longer in WWE.
When I'm looking at this picture here, gentlemen, this here, hands down, minus everybody else who joined the NWO, this hands down was NWO. I know the first Hogan, Nash, and Hall were the first three to kick it off, but as soon as they got Shawn in there, it's like, to me, that's NWO. Not Giant, not Luger, not Macho Man, not Bischoff. Well, Bischoff, he's he's guy behind, but this here, seeing this picture is like hands down, that's it right there. There's everybody else is just ostrich in the NWO. These guys were the four. Now everyone nowadays is using pillars. The word pillars. These were the four pillars. These were the four Mount Rushmore.
I was going to say the Mount Rushmore to NWO.
Yes, hands down.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm thinking that picture's from WWE. It looks like that would be
It does.
when they ran it back in WWE.
Yeah, because then when they were in WWE, when the whole thing in WWE, when they did the whole WrestleMania angle with when Sting was wrestling Triple H, Pac came out with DX.
Yeah,
if these guys remember, he came out with Dog and Billy, and then these three. I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, this is funny as shit. You got Pac coming down. He's NWO, but he's coming down as DX fighting against the NWO. So I was like, all right, cool. And then you got NWO standing side by side with Sting, holding it down, only because it's going to be a throwback to the WCW days. That's why.
And that's
the moral. The moral of the story is you always choose Shawn.
The moral of the story is whenever WWE will try to rebook WWE against WCW, you know for a fact that WWE guy is winning.
Yeah, be on Team Shawn.
When they did Goldberg and Undertaker, he's like, oh yeah, Undertaker's going to win because this is WWF against WCW. You talk about, it's funny, Team Shawn. I was thinking back to like with Shawn Michaels maybe being the third man in '96. Like, nah, he was too busy ruining Vader's career in WWF.
Listen, let's calm down. Let's
calm down, dude. Damn. Okay, you get a little excited over there, hot and heavy.
No, this is what we do all the time. Yeah,
he's so passionate. He's passionate about what he does.
Oh, listen, Brian knows what he's talking about. He knows how to attack my heart.
By pointing out what Shawn Michaels did. That's
yes, absolutely.
I
just like to put my blinders on for those. It's like when the star quarterback does inappropriate things in high school, but you still need him for the game. You know what I mean? You gotta put those blinders on.
So I'm guessing hands down, Shawn Michaels is your guy.
Oh yeah, that's my number one. But yeah, going to this whole WCW or outsider coming in and taking on a thing. If Cody comes in, does he come in and beat like a big name guy in WWE? I don't know.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, does he beat a Seth Rollins who's like your company man?
He's gonna have to.
Yeah, you want to start a guy hot, like you don't want to start a guy cold by losing.
Like, yeah, but you don't want to start a guy hot that just built your competition for 2 years or 3 years.
As soon as the ink hits the paper, it's we got you.
I wouldn't. If I was booking that, I'd put Rollins over him at least twice, or whoever over him at least twice, just to let him know like you ain't fucking AEW no more.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun, but let's go back to the NWO. Sorry,
yeah, no, and this here when they did that whole reunion angle where they're all coming, when they did that whole reunion angle where they're coming out, that was like 2016 because I think Scott was inducted in 2014, wasn't he?
He's inducted twice. He's inducted as Scott Hall, and he's inducted as NWO.
Yeah. So this
actually
here
he was never inducted as Scott Hall, right? He was inducted.
No, he was Razor. Yeah,
as Razor.
Yeah, as Razor.
I'm thinking that might have been from when they ran back the NWO in 2002, though, when Hogan, Nash, and Hall came back, when Vince was going to kill the WWF because Ric Flair was an owner now.
Yes.
Hall winds up wrestling Austin at WrestleMania.
That was kind of
what a goddamn stunner bump that was.
Yeah, just
Oh,
flying.
you mean the one where
Amazing.
he hit when he was up in the air and stuff, but like,
That was the only one, I
and he
believe.
flipped over.
Yeah, he didn't last long. Scott was gone not that long after that
It
because
was
again, his
amazing.
demons were kind of there.
Yeah, that Hall of Fame there, dude. Like when he was in the recovery with DDP and stuff like that, and then as soon as they got the phone call when Triple H made a phone call to
Really?
DDP and said, "Hey, we're inducting Scott." He's like, oh shit, and like it because he was pushing for Scott to get in for a while, and then finally they just made the decision. He waited. He's like, not yet, not yet. It's not time yet. I I guess they wanted to wait to see Scott get on his feet.
Yeah.
And finally, and then you had I believe Big Kev inducted him. Am I correct there, T?
I believe so.
Yeah, Big
Yeah.
Big Kev. It was very emotional. I literally teared up to only two ever Hall of Fame speeches. One was Scott, the other one was Jake. Them two hit so hard because you got to see their progress in recovery with Dallas, the whole physical part as well as the substance abuse part as well too. So it's very emotional when you see guys you grew up watching, you loved, and then you see their downfall spiral. But then it's like a movie. You see them rise like a phoenix coming from the ashes, back to life, and they're so much in a better place. And then once you see their Hall of Fame inductions, it's like yo, it's like they made it. They didn't have to wait to be dead to get inducted. They made it before they passed on, and that there was so it touched me in a special way.
Hey, Chio, can I give you a Scott Hall trivia fact? Or sorry,
Sure.
trivia note. It's wrong. I just want to preface it with that, but I just think it's hilarious that this is. So I'm looking at some website called thefamouspeople.com, and they do profiles of famous people or whatever. So according to their timeline, in 2007, Scott Hall resurrected his Razor Ramon persona when he returned to WCW.
Oh wow.
In 2007,
What the
and he
hell?
was Razor Ramon in WCW. I don't remember that.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Where
I
was
don't remember,
that?
I don't remember much of WCW after March of
Maybe they were watching
2001.
somebody's play along on YouTube when they were doing a fantasy thing on their video game.
The only
That's the
resurrection,
funniest thing. That means everything else in this website I'm not paying any attention to.
the only
Except other than his
resurrection
first name is
of
Scott and his last name is Hall. That's it.
the only resurrection of Razor Ramon that I remember
Erection.
What?
resurrection.
What is happening?
I didn't hear
It-
that part. All I heard was the erection part. I was like, I don't want to talk about this.
I'm eating chips at the same time.
Well,
The
why are
only-
you
the-
eating with a mic in front of you?
Because I can. The only time I remember the resurrection of Razor Ramon when Scott Hall was in WCW is when WWF decided to put that fake Razor in and Kane back
Wait,
then.
they were
when he-
fake?
He just passed away, what, a year or two ago as well.
What the guy who did
Yeah, Rick
Razor.
Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah, Rick
remember his name.
Titan.
And Kane
you-
back then was doing Diesel.
Yo, did you ever watch shit? Well, I don't remember which series it was. It might have been WCW Timeline with kayfabe commentary and Sean Oliver. Did you ever see that those shows or those videos or whatever?
No.
No.
So he did one with Kevin Nash, and it was, I think it was 96, whatever year they did Fake Razor and Diesel, and Kevin Nash telling a story where they're backstage. So Jim Ross went on Raw live and said, next week I'm bringing back Razor and Diesel. So Kevin Nash is saying we were backstage at Nitro watching that with that on the monitor, and whoever was the guy in talent relations, I don't remember. There was two guys there that were talent relations that were there watching it, and he goes, the guy just looked over at me and didn't know what was going on, thought it was real. So it was him and Scott Hall were standing there watching the monitor, and they both saw that. So he's telling the story, and he's like, we didn't deny that it was us. We just never said it's not me and him. It's they never asked. So he said what they did was this guy came back, went wherever and came back and offered them an extra $400,000 each in their contracts to not sign with WWE. And he's like, the thing is, we already signed. We were already at WCW, so it was obvious that it was going to be somebody else. So he pauses, and then he's like, the funniest fucking thing is that they spent $800,000 signing two guys they already signed. So we just took it and fucking went with it. And then, we saw the next week that it was fucking Glenn Jenkins and Rick Bogner. But that's like one of the funniest fucking stories, man.
It made sense. I would have. Like, yeah, sure. If you just want to give me money, that's fine.
If you're him, yeah. If you're WCW, I mean, you'll look fucking stupid the next week.
The boys playing the man. I love it.
Yeah. And this here, hands down, always go be a nice quote at the end of the speech where he always said, "Hard work pays off, dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do." And that.
What do you think of? Is it cool or not cool of WWE selling that on a T-shirt for $30 now?
Cool.
It doesn't say anywhere on the website that proceeds go to his family or anything like that.
I was just about to say that.
That's what I said. Is it
Because
going to the
proceeds
family?
Go to WWE.
That's not cool.
If
it goes to
They
the
own
family,
it. It's on their cameras, unfortunately, but that's the difference between a company like WWE and other places.
Even if it wasn't going.
I'm not saying
family,
it's not, but it doesn't say it is. So
and this doesn't make it in any less poor taste. It is in poor taste, I think, but there's a good chance somebody in WWE wrote that line for him. They do write the induction stuff, like very famously.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jacobs got in a lot of. I think it was Jimmy Jacobs that quit because he had Bret Hart thank Vince, and that's like the big no-no in the Hall of Fame is that you don't thank Vince.
Right. Yeah. Somebody actually, I forget who it was, but whoever actually wrote part of his Hall of Fame speech, actually, it's known now. I don't remember who it was though.
Yeah. If no proceeds are going to the family, at least take the proceeds and donate it to something for treatment or something like that. Someone who
it doesn't say anything here. It's $28.
I guess I could play devil's advocate here. And this is something even Scott has said himself, is every single time he did need help, even though he wasn't under the WWE banner and he needed to go to rehab, WWE did all they possibly can to help him.
They sent him to rehab 11 times or 14, something like that.
So maybe I guess in devil's advocate, them selling that a T-shirt is getting some money back for all the times they sent him to rehab to try to help him out. So who knows?
I think the only person
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I think the only person they've said now that they won't send to rehab anymore is Tammy, if I'm not mistaken.
Is who?
Bagwell went public a couple months ago. Said he asked them more than once, and they keep turning them down. They've sent Sonny to rehab.
Yeah, a few times, I believe.
But yeah, Bagwell, I think is.
There's a true NWO right there.
Scott Hall was his example. I forgot what podcast it was. It was just like 3 or 4 months ago, and he did an interview on a podcast. He was like, "Man, I asked them like 3 times, and they keep turning me down. But they sent Scott 11 times or whatever it was."
Well, Scott also worked for them for years, and Buff Bagwell worked for them.
Yeah, we for like a week. And they literally threw him out.
Yeah, he had his mom call him off at work.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Like
you're working for a multi-million-dollar.
Was that in WWE or was that WCW? I thought it was
when they went to
WWE.
Yeah,
like what you would call it? He was scheduled for Raw, and Ross, I believe, was looking for where's he at? And his mom happened.
Oh, that's right. That's right. She talked to Jim Ross. That's right.
And Ross talked to his mother, screaming, "He's not coming in today." Like what? What? Hold up.
That's a good way. That's a good way to kill your career.
If you have never heard of the podcast Crime in Sports, look it up and listen to the Bagwell episode. It's hilarious. Every wrestling episode is hilarious. The Scott Hall one is actually the one that got me listening to that podcast.
Yeah, funny we were going to bring up Bagwell. He is DDP's latest project. He's Bagwell.
Right is he down there right now currently?
Yeah, that's very recent actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we might see.
I think Bagwell has a handler right now, that a guy who does a lot of local stuff, goes to some local shows, and I guess he's friends with Bagwell, and he's trying to help him clean up. I think they started a podcast together, and And I
Well-
think this guy did the legwork to get him with DDP and everything like that. I
Well,
could be
I
wrong,
know-
but
I know down there for DDP, good friend Dylan Freimeyer also works as Sunny Days down there. He worked
Speaking of Bret
on
Hart.
he worked in AEW's first pay-per-view at Sunny Days. He
Wait.
does he does a lot of stuff for Dallas because he was on the DDP yoga when he lived up here in this area and stuff.
Sorry.
And he was I guess Scott and Jake's secondary. Like he would travel with them and keep an eye on them, making sure they didn't
Yeah.
drink or he kept an eye
There
on
was
them.
more than
basically.
there was more than one guy
Uh,
that did that. I'm friends with the guy that did the same thing.
So
I got- you know how
hopefully
much-
my buddy's down there doing that too. Hopefully.
You know how much he's doing video editing now, Dylan. But you know how much
Oh,
I got
yes.
a bunch of heat on Twitter because he worked that first AEW pay-per-view in his yellow bullshit as Sunny Days, and I went on Twitter and said, "Why the fuck they have Bret Hart there presenting the title belt? Why is Bret not coming out with someone called Sunny Days?" And people are like, "That's not funny. That's off color. That's inappropriate. Fuck you. You're inappropriate." That was a great fucking joke. Still is. It still is.
anyway, speaking of Shawn Michaels,
Oh,
Damn,
that's another tie-in. Another tie-in.
there's her click right there.
You're
There's the
not
click.
going to believe this, but Razor Ramon won his first singles title after Shawn Michaels dropped it without losing in the ring.
In 2007 at WCW?
Yes. He won the WWF Intercontinental title in 2007 in WCW.
WCW? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But
Oh,
the,
sorry,
the NWO is now, and also obviously with Scott Hall is in the new 2K22 game. They have a special edition where you can get the NWO package and play as them now if you're into that.
It's fucking
If you're into
digital,
paying
though. That's weird.
$120 for a video game.
Yeah, well, I paid 120 for 2K19, but it was physical then for the collector's edition.
Yeah.
This is just digital. I don't understand that.
No,
I want a
got-
box for that much
I got
money.
the-
Print a cardboard box, dude, and just fucking send it to me like you did 3 years ago.
Yeah, I got the regular version. I'm just still creating characters right now.
Can you not use whether you play as or against? Can you not use NWO in the other versions or no?
I think you gotta earn them. Like if you don't get the the NWO version, I think you actually gotta play through the game and actually earn them.
Like unlock them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you get that version, then they're already unlocked, like bonus.
yeah.
So they double the price just to have you not have to play through it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Pretty
You
much.
just get the guy. I just fucking
I got
pay
the cheap
$60 and
version,
pay
so
it.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
me too. I'm cheap. I mean, I didn't get it yet, but I'm cheap, so I'll get it eventually.
I haven't bought WWE games since 2012 or 11, so I'm lost in the sauce with that.
I used to have a friend that worked for 2K that would send them me every year for free, and that fucking ended in 2019. That's why that was the last one I got. And now I'm like, shit, I gotta pay for this fucking thing.
I'm like, because the controls got way complicated from Here Comes the Pain and all the ones that we love.
Well,
to
they just changed all the controls on this one. I heard. I haven't played it yet, so I don't know. But I heard all the controls are changing now.
Like
Buttons are different and shit like that.
just give me a Street Fighter format and I'm good.
just button smash.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited. Where I want to definitely jump back on. I'm gonna play as Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, just for some nostalgic type reasons. And right here we got the image of Scott with Jake and Dallas. When
What is Jake looking? What is Jake seeing that they're not seeing?
they're just
He's-
looking wherever
He's so
they're
surprised
looking.
about.
It's a nice picture. It's just casual. It's just like whatever. Let's just look up. We got to see when Scott was getting his help in the resurrection of Jake Roberts documentary. They ended up calling Scott on the phone and stuff, and then met him at the airport. He was being pushed around in a wheelchair. So it was the beginning process of his hips were bad. They started a GoFundMe type thing to raise money for his
Indiegogo,
surgery.
I think it was something like that.
And when Dallas was saying about we had him started off with 2 chairs hold on to just for he can get his balance, because that's how bad his hips were. And then little by little he progressed to one chair, then no chairs, and then it was just doing so good. And then you hear the stories, coming from his son, as Cody, saying, about growing up, how his dad was this, that, and then to see him now at this far state in his life, finally, seeing him in a different light and being a part of his career, because Cody started wearing the whole
vest.
the vest, the tights, everything was like the dripping and stuff like that. So it was like a blessing for Cody, for having that bonding moment with his dad, going out there performing in the gear under the name Hall, which is their legit last name. I'm waiting for WWE to try to pull some shenanigans. Hey, Cody, you want to bring you in? We want to put you as Razor Ramon Jr.
No juniors in WWE. Vince hates Jr.
Yeah.
Well, because he is.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't let you call him that.
Yeah, so it's like
or Lil Razor, like Lil Wayne.
Big Razor. Cody Hall is huge.
Yeah, but
yeah.
He's the little Razor because Big Razor's his dad.
Yeah. So Scott Hall touched a lot of us in many different ways. Shut up. I
didn't say anything.
I heard that laugh.
I have another monitor over here.
Appropriately. I mean, appropriately.
I didn't say, dude. I got my second monitor over here that I'm looking at stuff on. So I'm not.
But yeah, he inspired a lot of people, and he will be very dearly missed. Hands down. I just can't see wrestling not having this particular gentleman in it, because like I said.
To me, it's going to be difficult seeing Kev without Scott.
Yes,
that's going to be the difficult part.
It's like a married couple not having their wife or husband with them.
Basically, because it's one without the other is not the same.
They were just supposed to be like, I guess I don't know if it passed the date time or it still was coming up, but Scott and Kevin were supposed to be in, I think, Reading at a baseball game, right?
Yeah, they do a big wrestling day at the Reading Fight and Phil's. It was supposed to be Hall and Nash as the guest this year.
Yeah, I was actually going to pull the trigger and go see it to meet them.
Yeah, me too. I was going to go too as well.
I never met Scott Hall. I met Nash. Never met Scott Hall.
Same here.
Although I've known X-Pac for years, so I don't know why I never was like, hey, man, can you call
I'm not saying these guys are compared to these two, but the only other tag team I think embodies the outsiders or embodies them even in the slightest, just from friends who've traveled the world and had each other's back, is probably Doc and Anderson and Gallows, right?
Yeah, Ricky and Rob, they're a bit of bunch.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Dr. Dusty Williams.
No. And like New Age will be FTR, like it's not one without the other.
I just think it's like two goofballs. You know what I mean? Like,
they're like class clowns. It's like Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Like
Bill and Ted, hands down.
Oh, like I was gonna say like Mike Enos and Horace Hogan, because they were NWO together. So they were clearly a team at some point.
It's like Virgil and the Meat Sauce Mafia.
Oh Lord.
Olive Garden's making a shitload of money from his free advertising.
Gentlemen, this was quite fun. I'm glad I reached out to you to come join us. However, I do regret missing our buddy Alex. We're gonna have to hit him up and find out what happened to him. Our man Alex Kilowatt was supposed to be here with us from the HTW Network and Camp Leapfrog. Much love, much praise go out to him wherever he's at. Hopefully we get an update on him. I did reach out to Rob Williams from the Bob Culture Podcast, but he had other commitments today, as well as Tiffany Ann as well. And
you know what?
I have a plug for Alex, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, please.
And kind of involves myself and Brian as well. We are also, I would consider us members of the High Tension Wrestling Network. We have some stuff behind the scenes that we help do with those guys with the production and anything they ever ask. We're always there. But But if you're interested in an upcoming wrestling event, Saturday, May 14th at the Marketplace in Steamtown and Steamtown. I can't say mall.
The
for some reason.
Marketplace at Steamtown in
It's
Scranton. It's no longer called the mall. It's called the Marketplace.
I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
There's gonna be a fan.
Hey, you can go to Waffle House.
There you go,
dude. There, if you don't go to Waffle House, I'll be pissed. Anyway.
But for a fan event from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., doors at 6, show at 7. It's going to be High Tension Wrestling makes its debut as a company, and it's going to be at the Electric City Showdown. And myself and Brian will be your lead commentary team for High Tension Wrestling, which is very exciting. And you get to experience your first ever High Tension Wrestling program. It's going to be their first offshoot since Camp Leapfrog. So come on down to the Steamtown, up to Steamtown, and hang out with us and see some wrestling.
What's the date on that again?
That is going
May
to be
14th.
May 14th.
Yeah, and on top of that, Joe, you have to go so you can help and assist that good-looking sound guy that's going to be there.
Oh, you're gonna. All right, so then if you're gonna be there, I'll stay. I've wrestled in Scranton a million fucking times. I love Scranton. I love Waffle House, so I may actually go to that.
So there we go. We're gonna see.
And you can always check. You can always check out the High Tension Wrestling Network. They have Moran and Friends, Tommy Talks Tape, 2 great podcasts. So definitely check them out. They do a lot of good stuff.
Hey, yours truly was a topic of conversation on Moran and Friends last week. So go check that one out.
I have an idea. If Alex can make it happen, we get Waffle House cater the show, and we can do
I'm not paying for that, but I will goddamn partake.
A live podcast, Waffles and Wrestling, or Wrestling's and Waffle, whatever's.
Hey,
whatever.
Waffle
Something.
Wrestling Entertainment.
I think I think you're the Breakfast and Body Slam guy. I think you got to foot the bill and pay for
Waffles
Waffle
and
House.
There you go.
Waffles and wrist locks. One time only.
These guys here, you're killing my pockets already. So that's all good though.
You make the big bucks.
I know. I as you can tell, look my view, my sight.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
Yeah, moving on like the Jeffersons. Gentlemen, I want to thank everybody jumping on here for this impromptu. I'm gonna say impromptu because originally nobody schedules a memorial show. This was as soon as he passed, it's like I wasn't even thinking about this. I was not even thinking about this hands down at all. And then it finally crossed my mind. You know what? Nothing else going on in the wrestling business is worth talking about currently than the life and times and career of Scott Hall. And I reached out to y'all, and y'all obliged me by coming in and joining.
Hungover too, so I love you.
Yeah, we collaborated plenty of times in the past, jumping on each other's shows, and we're continuously supporting each other, which we do in the wrestling podcast community. And I know everyone, hands down, check out the IWEP network. You got all the info, Anthony. Please plug it, the Patreon, all that stuff.
Yeah, so the IWEP network, we have a bunch of shows. There's even shows on the IWEP network that I'm not even a part of, but we have some great ones like Stay Doomed, Welcome Back. Poolbox Pals is a brand new one just started if you're into comic books, and also Higher Than Other Words. And We Like Professional Wrestling podcasts also on there. So you can check out them. Also, just IWEPnetwork.com if you want to check them out. We have Tornado Tag Podcast. We're live every Thursday at 9:00. Myself and Brian with joined always by Kelly and Andy Header, local wrestler, and we talk wrestling topics, which may be changing soon because our numbers are dipping a little bit. The history, I guess, isn't doing as well.
Header's the problem. Get that motherfucker off of there.
Yeah, that might be. But
I love that kid. Yo, do any of you guys get Header's Christmas cards?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Can I tell you a quick story then?
Absolutely.
So a couple of years ago, was the one where he was fucking sprawled out in front of the tree, like that pose, like paint me like one of your French girls.
Yeah.
And I was doing a podcast at the time when it showed up, and I got a text from my wife saying, "Who the fuck is this whore sending you a Christmas card?" And I go, "Oh my God, turn it over." And she turned it over. It was like to Joe from Andy Header. And she's like, "Oh my God, I don't fucking believe this." It was the funniest thing. Yeah, it was so funny.
Hold on, let me. Brian, talk about Tornado Tag real quick.
For the moment, always reassessing. We do cover a lot of historical stuff. Like we said, this coming Thursday, we'll be talking about WrestleMania 10, kind of running down not just the ladder match, but the whole show. Guests occasionally. We talked about Lance Von Erich a few weeks ago. We've talked about Robbinsdale High School. We've talked about Bearcat Wright. Too Cold Scorpio was a recent episode. Sputnik Monroe was a fun one.
Oh, I love Sputnik Monroe.
Thursdays at 8. You can
8, not 9, 8 o'clock. I should know that. And then we have interviews everyday people, Not Cool in High School. We talk pop culture, truth behind illusion, cryptids, paranormal, spooky stuff.
If you're into true crime, I do my own side podcast, unaffiliated, Murder My Dude. You can find that. We have 100+ episodes. Just look that up. You can find that as well.
I listen to every single episode.
Murder My Dude.
Murder My Dude. Yes.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it like crime? Is it crime?
Yes, true crime.
True crime.
Oh, okay, true crime, one of those ones. Okay,
it's
I
absolutely
never really got into that though.
I like to think of it as it's a true crime podcast for people who might not listen to true crime podcasts.
Yes,
a lot of comedy, a lot of.
I did, however, watch that season of
Mindhunter.
There was a true crime series with Steve Martin.
That wasn't true crime. Only Murders in the Building was hilarious.
Only Murders in the Building.
But they did their own podcast.
They did their podcast. It was incredible.
So I actually really enjoyed that. That was actually pretty good.
It was an incredible show.
Martin Short too, as well.
Selena Gomez.
Yeah. And I will be live once again later on today at 3 o'clock for Bangin' Beers podcast. We're drinking beers from Estonia, I think, is where they're from. I don't remember. It's a definitely an import beer, but we're drinking some of those. And that's live every Sunday if you want to hang out with us, usually around 12 or 3, depending on how drunk we are from Saturday.
Our viewers encouraged to drink while they're watching?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like it.
So come hang out with us at Bangin' Beers podcast at 3 o'clock today and hang out.
Yeah. For us, I guess the next most recent stuff besides our Sunday show at 11 for us here, our next Thursday show, well, not this coming Thursday, but right before WrestleMania, Joseph hooked us up.
Sir.
We will have former WWE referee on, Jimmy Corderas, giving his insight of what we might see during WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
So
also someone who knows a thing or two about doing a show on wrestling. He's been doing that for a while.
Yeah, he knows a little something. We'll bring the kid on. We'll see how he does. Right, Joe? We'll give him a tryout. We'll see how this kid is.
Yes, sir.
Definitely should be.
Where did I go?
Joe?
Where did I go?
You disappeared. I just see your.
I think you hit stop cam.
No, I didn't hit nothing. Oh, I don't know.
There he is.
I don't know. A thing popped up and said your camera's unplugged, but it's not. I don't know. Whatever.
Once again, gentlemen, any final words real quick before we head out of here and we enjoy the rest of our Sunday?
Banana, xylophone, cheesecake. My final words.
Waffle House.
Waffle House.
Yes. Oh my God.
T, what do you got for us?
Too sweet.
I honestly, yes. I think we should end that like that.
2 final words.
Too sweet. Joe, look up.
Hey,
gotta give it.
What I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna throw a little toothpick.
Oh, toothpick, yes.
At the
just remember,
toothpick
hard
sales
work
went up.
Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't, and bad guys do. That's the best way to end it, right there. Keep working, boys. You guys you guys do a great job.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks
sir.
for tuning in. We'll see you again. Check us out. Check them out on the Tornado Tag podcast, IWEP Network, us at the BodySlams podcast.com, and we'll see you at the matches. Too sweet.
Hey, yo.
This is how it's gonna be. This is what you think of me. It's going down like I told you. This is how it's gonna be. I'll be the last man standing here. I'm not going anywhere. It's going down like I told you. I'll be the last man standing here. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. I'm gonna rock you. for my